Goodman, when we did things, we just did things in the act of, what would Sonny do in this?
Yeah, then that's really, that was one of the things that I started to talk about. Hang on a second.
We had to do things that hurt people. We had to do things that hurt some people. We had to do things that made a lot of people happy, because the one thing we cared about doing was and I'm getting a little misty-eyed here when I talk about this too, because between talking about Michelle, Michael Porter, and Sonny is these were people that we were extremely close with, and really doing Shiny Days, and Shiny Days is actually, it's not on the air, but it is a part of the Wacko network. We really did our best to make sure everything with her did not take her name in vain, did not bastardize her or anything like that, and it's tough to think about.
Michael Porter Show was one show that I really wanted to see succeed. So I did everything along with you guys to make sure that it succeeded, no matter if it was slipping Porter numbers under the table, no matter if it was booking someone for Michael Porter, no matter if it was making an intro. He was one person that I really wanted to succeed. And I knew Michael just as Bob knew him and all you guys knew him on the radio. I will say this. There was a lot of negative publicity for Michael Porter. There was a lot of, negativity thrown his way. And I will say this. For anybody who have criticized Michael Porter's radio show, you were a piece of shit. You literally were.
Why were people doing that? I've often had that question.
I have no idea.
What is the point of kicking a dead man?
I've
never
absolutely no
understood
point.
that, Well,
yeah, we never did.
I have said that.
Go ahead.
I have said that from day one about Michael Porter. Michael Porter's show had guests on there that none of us would probably ever have a chance of interviewing. There was one interview that he did that I remember with Ken Shamrock, and Ken Shamrock was so dedicated to the interview, he actually did the interview from a fucking elevator. There is nobody who has done an interview for me from an elevator. There have been people that have done interviews for me from bathrooms and the drive-thru at McDonald's, which was pretty privileged to have done, but no one has ever, gone to the lengths to be on a show for me like they did for Michael Porter. And just as much as we all wanted to see Michael's show succeed, so did his guests. And I think where all that negativity came from was a lot of jealousy, because Michael Porter had worked for the WWF. His legacy lives on, and I really do think, and I want to put this out for everybody to hear years from now, Michael Porter is a bigger legend in death than he ever was in real life. And to say that about Michael Porter tells you and everybody listening that I had a lot of respect for Michael to put him over that way. Michael is someone who I will never forget, and I really, really miss him. I really do, and I just hope that the same thing that happens to him doesn't happen to any of you or anyone listening to this show, because it is a fate that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's just terrible realizing that he's not here. The last show that he did was with Ox Baker. I had interviewed Ox Baker, and Ox Baker was literally one crazy guy to interview. But he was so down to earth talking to Michael Porter. It was like Michael had known him his entire life. And that was the thing about Michael Porter's interviews. Michael Porter would do an interview, and it would be such a down-to-earth conversation. It would be like two friends talking to each other who had known each other for years and years and years. And if you go back to the Michael Porter archives, you will literally go away talking about it. I'm still talking about him, and I'll still be writing about him. I just wish that didn't happen to him,
Yeah, we definitely hear you, and we feel the same way where Sonny goes. And I'm glad we're glad that a guy like Mike Summers, who's here in the chat, who's not just here in the chat room but on the line with us, is able to carry on the legacy of Michael Porter like he is too. And him and Paula Joe are doing the best job possible to do it. And I don't think they're letting Michael Porter down at all.
Trying to think some of the stranger shows that I've done on BTR.
Oh, I see that.
Is Michael on the line there? Can he promote that? Can you give Russell Shoot a quick plug?
Yep, I'm on the line right here, as far as I know. It's chaotic at work right now, but I was calling in because I was just so happy that Wacko Bob is doing a show to bring Abby along, and then just was off the phone and didn't hear her for a while, but I'm glad to hear she's back on.
Yeah, she was on. She actually went to rest and everything too. And you know what? I'll bring this up here right now. We had to take an emergency break and everything because Abby is very, very asthmatic, and Abby was getting to a point to where she wasn't breathing. And long story short, Jonathan Clarke is on Skype with me here, and I brought Mike in, to see what can be done, and then I brought Morgan in right away too, since Morgan has the medical background, and we were able to